Welcome back, or welcome if you're a first time viewer. Usually on this podcast, we talk about wrestling, paranormal events, and shoes. If that's something that you're into, hit the subscribe button and let's get into it. This week, we're introducing a new co host, Rhea Riptide. Sometimes it's hard to get her to stop talking about wrestling, so I figured I'd give her my platform to do it on. So, the topic of this week's conversation is going to be early title changes and bringing back people to carry the show in their lull season, which they say is right now. But I don't think that is a valid excuse. Every time they run into trouble, it's like, ooh, let's shake things up. Let's bring this guy back. Ooh, let's shake things up. Let's take the title off this guy. We just recently witnessed Baron Corbin coming back, and I wasn't a fan of him before when he had long hair, and I wasn't a fan of him after he shaved his head. It's just he can't pull off the gimmick. That's all it is. It's his gimmicks are unbelievable. So, up till what we saw on SmackDown, he came riding in on a motorcycle. I mean, come on. You're not a hard ass. You're not pictured like that, and you're not built like a badass. I feel like bringing him back and having him cheat, typical bad guy Baron Corbin stuff, cheats, hits him with the belt, then wins the first time, and then does it again to Trick. It's just humiliating, first of all, for the belt. Second of all, that we're actually watching this because we're like watching a comedy show. Okay? You see the good guy who's working his ass off, and then you see someone who just comes back and gets the belt. What's the point of bringing back a guy right away, like Baron Corbin? I don't even want to say this other person's name, but I'm going to say it. Kevin Owens. You brought back Kevin Owens, you brought back Baron Corbin, and right away they're in the title running. And Baron Corbin won the title. Now, I'm just not satisfied with that angle. I was getting all geeked because they were actually pushing Trick and they were actually doing what they should be doing with evening out the ratio of the races that hold titles and are in competition, and now you're squashing it all over again. And the worst part is you give this no talent guy, and if he wants to get comment on my podcast, that's cool. I'm just saying he has no talent, and it's just blah. You got Trick Williams out there getting everybody behind him when he's kicking someone in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like they're repeating his motto. That is that is awesome. That's over. You're over right there. You're over. Everybody loves you. Crowd's cheering for you. That's what you want. And now I feel like they crushed it. And when you take that title off and you put it on another person or you give somebody a number one contenders match right when they come back, I want to know whose ass did they kiss? Because Baron Corbin got released years ago. Okay? And they didn't want him back. So I don't know how he came back and why he's back. Just not an interesting angle. If you were going to have someone take that belt off of him, it should have been Carmelo. It should have been somebody of that caliber that they've had bouts with. Just not interesting storyline. We also have a lot of botches going on recently, and I understand them flying and traveling and all that other stuff, but like in between all this, there's not a whole lot of practicing going on and choreographing, and that was what was huge back in the day. Was there was a lot of choreographing going on, in the 90s. So I feel like Jade definitely botched 4 moves for sure against Flair, and I feel like Charlotte tried to cover it up, but it was still very noticeable. One of the ones that I was really disturbed about was the one in the corner where Jade had picked her up and was going to power bomb her into the mat from the top rope. Jade couldn't even pull her up. Charlotte had to grab around her head and pull herself up. So that to me says you weren't aware of how much weight or how it was going to feel while you were up there on that top rope. And that just stems from not practicing. And I think that could cause a lot of problems. Let's just say, first of all, injuries. Second of all, crowd appeal is huge. If you're not getting that crowd behind you and it looks too fake and your punches are missing and, you know, the drop kicks don't look real, the flips don't look real, the running don't look real, it's not a good match. And I feel like a lot of this when some of these wrestlers wrestle, and I'm not just saying Jade. There are a lot of other wrestlers that do this. I just feel like they're not pulling off their craft. They're not making it believable anymore. Because of Unreal, because we know it's fake, because we know it's kayfabe. Actually, I don't even want to say this, but I feel like kayfabe is gone because they ruined it. It's not a thing anymore. Okay, not WWE. It's not. I know it is in AEW and stuff like that, but like Undertaker would have not survived in this era. Goldust would have not survived in this era. Mick Foley, Mankind, Kane. Are you kidding me? Their covers would have been blown so fast. The organization would want to be pulling off their masks like they do with Penta, like they did with the Grand Americano. It's just dumb. And I feel like that's what's lacking in this WWE society is that. You've taken all that away. Nobody can live in kayfabe anymore. I just feel like they really need to change that and bring that back. I don't think you can. I think we're beyond that point now with WWE, and I'm just bitching and moaning. But for real, it is a huge problem. If you have anything to say, leave it in the comment box. I look forward to reading your comments. That's all I have for the wrestling section, and we're going to move on to the paranormal section next. So, I'm actually going to turn this paranormal section into like a paranormal feed of my life because the paranormal activity is like amped up in my house for some reason. I don't know if it's because I'm stressed or if it's because of the season or what, but it is definitely acting up more. And the more it's acting up, the more obviously I pay attention because there's noises and doors opening and lights going on and just weird stuff. If I can share the video, I will share the video. And that's where we're going to lead off this week. So, this week, the paranormal activity downstairs in the basement has actually peaked to the point where it turned on a light in the room that we have down there that's like a storage room. It's a very creepy room to begin with. When you go in there, it's not very tall. I believe it used to be used for coal back in the day and maybe some food deliveries or whatever. But it is very creepy room. You get a cold draft in there, summer, winter, it don't matter. As I was downstairs doing the wash, I had noticed the light was on, and the light switch is on the outside, so I went up there and I just shut it off and turned back around and did the wash and went upstairs. Now, mind you, I have discussed with you guys before that when you're in the basement and if you feel things like ghosts or paranormal activity, then you will feel like there is something definitely watching over you down there. Usually peeking out behind the furnace. I've seen shadows down there, but really not anything identifiable. And which I would love to get a shadow on camera. Let me tell you about that. I would love to get a shadow on camera if I've not yet. This current time, I turned the light off and I went back upstairs. And then, as I'm sitting in the living room and I'm folding clothes, I hear another noise. And I thought it was usually just my wife or someone moving around in the other part of the house. And because it's kind of an older, bigger home, and there's a lot of noises. It's an older home. Floors settling, walls sound like they're cracking. You know, just a typical hot stuff when it's hot during the summer. So I kind of ignored it. I mean, deep down inside, I knew it was probably the ghost downstairs doing something, but I didn't think nothing of it. So I went downstairs, and when I went downstairs, the dryer door and the washer door were open. And I know for a fact I closed the dryer, turned the dryer on, and closed the washer and turned the washer on. And I only know this not from my own memory, but when I looked at the washer was paused. And when I looked at the dryer was paused. So that means that it had to start and then stop. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it did it. It was just a very uneasy situation that I know that I opened those and put the clothes in there and closed them and started it. I know I did the whole routine. That was this week. I'm pretty sure that it's going to start picking up. It has. I feel like the more I pay attention to it, like If I go down there with my phone in my hand and record, 10 times out of 10 I can record something, no matter what. For some reason, those cameras that are downstairs that I have down there, they just don't pick up stuff, or they go out when the paranormal activity happens, which we've noticed a lot. They just cut out. So we're dealing with a smart ass ghost, and he obviously knows what he's doing. I'll keep you updated on the paranormal activity in the house. I think it'll be a cool feed, and we'll have to see where it goes from here. All right, guys, moving on to the shoe section this week. We'll start off a little different. I'm gonna start off with a shoe I didn't get, which I'm kind of upset, but all my shoe guys were like, dude, this shoe's gonna go fast. And it was the multicolor sunset Air Force Ones, which were the hairy ones. They were orange hair. And the ones that look like a Lorax foot. And I really wanted them. I just gone fast, real fast. And the wings were the same way. The wings maybe sat there for like 15 minutes, and then they were all gone. So those two shoes were disappointments, but I mean, I really didn't care about the wings that much. I did want those orange hairy Air Force ones, but it just didn't work out. So now we're going to move on to the shoe releases. Thursday, August 13th, we have the new Ja 4s release. It's called Nightmare. Not really into this new design. They're kind of cool, but at the same time, I don't know. It's super different. I guess I would have to see them in person to know if I like them. But those come out August 13th. August 15th, we have another Job 4, which is the New York versus New York. And those are Persian Violet and Rio Teal. They're about 140 bucks, so that's not going to be too bad. You know, I like this color a little bit better, but I'm still not a huge fan yet. Maybe I could become one. Like I said, I'd have to see him in person. The one thing I was talking to my wife about is that these jaws, every year that they come out with a new jaw, it actually is a totally redesigned shoe, which I think is cool. I really like that to do that, but it's not always for the best. But I do like them. So keep going with the shoe designs and changing them up, staying original. I like that. And then next we have on August 15th, also, we have the woman's Air Jordan 3 Obsidian and Track Red, which I'm kind of into. They look kind of cool. I don't know. We'll have to see. Do I think they're going to go? Hell yeah. They're Jordan 3s, and Jordan 3s hardly ever sit. So, unless they're like a reprint. And then next, on August 21st, we have the Air Foam Posit Pros Camouflage. Black multicolor. Basically, camouflage. And these will come out. They're going to be 250 bucks. Would I like these? We've discussed this before, guys. I love the way the foam posits look. They're just uncomfortable as hell. So, will I cop these? Probably not. Do I think the color's dope? For sure. But I'm not copping them. And then on August 22nd, we have the Air Jordan 1 Low OG Laser. These are black and varsity red. And they're about $165. It's a little high for Jordan. We're going to have to see what they look like in person if the stores get them. I do believe that the Air Jordan 1s might be available to everyone. I don't think they're going to sell out that fast. And then also that same day, we have the Jordan 3 Laser, Phantom and Palomino, which I will be honest with you, I'll probably cop these. These are pretty dope looking shoes. Will I be able to? Who knows? Because they're a specialty. They might only be made so many. Or these bots, when they order, they might just order 30 of them and take them from the rest of the people. So we'll just have to play that one out by ear. Really, that's all I have for the shoe releases right now. I would go further and inform you more, but it would be inaccurate because the Foot Locker and Champs websites are not having any pictures, and neither are the finish lines of later shoes. So I will keep you updated as much as possible. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you heard, then please like, comment, and share with your friends. Every bit of engagement helps me get the word out. If you made it this far, leave a tooth in the comment section. and I'll see you all next week.